Hey, welcome back everyone. This is the Real KMJH and welcome to the show. Well, today we're going to be reviewing and reacting to a video that Asmongold posted on Sunday, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. And actually, oh man, yes, it is actually going to be from a Christian's viewpoint because I am Christian. And well, I guess in the video you're going to be seeing Asmongold's viewpoint of it. But let's just jump straight into that video.
There's a new church. New church. Let's go ahead and listen to the new church.
Christchurch senior pastor Doug Wilson makes no apologies for his beliefs on God and country.
I'd like to see the town be a Christian town. I'd like to see the state be a Christian state. I'd like to see the nation be a Christian nation. I'd like to see the world be a Christian world.
And now Wilson's controversial views as a Christian nationalist are gaining sway in the nation's center of power with the recent opening of his...
This is going to get way bigger, by the way. Way bigger. Like right now you're seeing the first 10%.
New church and high-profile parishioners like Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Isn't it crazy that the guy that has tattoos on himself from the Crusades wants the country to be a Christian nation again? I would have never predicted that. Who could have ever known? Wow.
There's not kind of nothing wrong with another guy who wants a nation to be fully following a specific religion. I'm sure they also understand that not everybody in the entire nation will be following that specific religion. I mean, if you look at Saudi Arabia, yeah, the majority is people that follow that specific religion, but not everybody, because there's a lot of foreigners, you know, and they don't impose it on the foreigners that you must be this religion if you want to work here. That's kind of actually not the thing. And the fact of the Crusader tattoos, I mean, maybe he's just a fan of the Crusades. Maybe he likes the law and history of the Crusaders. I mean, then you look at the Freemasons' law and history, and you look at all these other things. Cool. I mean, if I was, like I'm South African, right? If I was wearing Samoan tattoos all over my body, does that mean I believe in the tribal traditions, or the fact that I just think the tattoos are awesome? Now, what about the fact that I am a South African and I decide to have Yakuza tattoos all over my body? Does that mean I'm a Yakuza? No, it doesn't mean. It just means I find it cool and I find it interesting. There's nothing wrong with having Crusader tattoos, you know? Unless he means like the guy with Crusader tattoos is actually working for the Freemasons, and the Freemasons are the whole conspiracy thing. There's nothing wrong with another person wearing certain types of tattoos and their belief. Like, Asmongold is taking this a little bit too far. He's grandizing everything.
Is planting a church in D.C. part of your mission to try to turn this into a Christian nation?
Yes. So every society is theocratic. The only question is who's Theo. In a secular democracy, it would be demos, the people. In a Christian republic, it'd be Christ.
Well, what would you say to someone watching this and say, look, I'm a Muslim. Who are you to say your worldview is better than mine, that your God is better than mine?
Well, if I went to Saudi Arabia, I would fully expect to live under their God's rules.
But you said...
I told y'all it's coming back. I told y'all this is what's going to happen. I've been saying this over and over and over. This is the angle that I think a lot of people are going to start using in order to push religious messaging and to push for a more homogenous culture, is that they're going to do it through religion.
Earlier that you want this to be a Christian world.
Yes.
So you want to supplant their religion with your Christian.
Yes, by peaceful means.
Of course. Not by peaceful means. No.
How does he know not by peaceful means? How does he know this dude right there is gonna do it militarily? He's gonna do it by violence. He's gonna force you into it.
Not by peaceful means. The window has not shifted enough for you to say what you really think. But, you know, That'll change.
By sharing the gospel, there's a lot of work yet to do. I believe that we are working our little corner of the vineyard.
Wilson's Little Corner, a picturesque campus nestled on the outskirts of downtown Moscow, Idaho, is growing by the day with thousands of like-minded Christians.
That's right.
Parishioners of his church, known as
Christian nationalism, is going to be probably one of the fastest growing groups of people in the next 5 and 10 years. And I think that it's going to be adopted primarily by young people and Zoomers.
You know, it's incredible how Asmongold can just find these facts and just know that, you know, yeah, this Christian nationalism is going to be the fastest growing. Yeah, definitely. Like it's an article or something. You know, I'm not mocking. I'm just thinking, like, how can you just make those statements and the look on his face is like fact, you know?
Kirkers own and operate several businesses downtown next to liberal college town stores.
If it's true,
Why did he yell boo? Because it's
because of me.
because of you.
Yeah. Well, you have there you go.
That's a regular day for you.
That's not unusual.
No.
A big focus of his Christian movement is on a patriarchal society where men are dominant and women are expected to submit to their husbands.
Women are the kind.
This was retweeted by the Secretary of Defense, saying all of Christ for all of life. I don't sound so crazy anymore whenever I say that the 19th Amendment is going to be a conversation point, do I? I told y'all.
The people that people come out of.
So you just think they're meant to have babies. That's it. They're just a vessel.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother, who is the chief executive of the home, is entrusted with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
I'm here as a working journalist, and I'm a mom of 3.
Good for you.
Is that an issue
No.
for you?
And no, it's not automatically an issue.
Josh and Amy Prince, along with their 4
Not automatically an issue, but it will be.
I don't know how you could say that was a weird answer. It's not automatically an issue. Well, yeah, because it's not an issue, you know. But Asmongold, as you can see by his answer, he knows what the guy is thinking. He can see into his mind. Like, not now. You know?
Yeah. I'm going to be CEO of a company. You're going to be CEO of the kitchen. Just the way it is. Why is this a problem for Christians? I think that people feel more comfortable criticizing Christianity versus criticizing Islam because, number one, Islam is seen as a foreign religion and Christianity is a domestic religion, and also it's because of race politics.
Can you please explain that? So, because Christianity is domestic, basically, in the States, that's easy to criticize. But because Islam is foreign, we cannot criticize it. Can you please explain that? And what about this race politics? What about this politics? What about it? Shine a light on it, please.
It's because Christianity is primarily a white person religion and Islam is not.
So, because Christianity is a white religion and Islam is not a white religion, if you consider that a lot of people in America are actually Islam, white and African American, and a whole lot of other races as well. But at the same time, Christians as well in the United States is white, is African American, and there's a whole lot of other races in there as well. So what are you trying to say? What are you saying? What's your point?
That's the reason why. Those
There's no point. There's no point to it.
are 2 of the main reasons.
He doesn't have an answer.
Kids moved here from Washington State.
Do you see Amy as your equal?
Yes and no. in the sense that we're both saved by grace. We're absolutely on equal footing. But we have very different purposes, God-given.
But do you see...
That is actually a very good answer. And as much as it might shock you, but like seeing like where he said that yes and no, he actually answered it correctly by saying we are made equal in God's eyes. Okay, we're all made in God's image, but equal, no. Each person, whether you're even married together, okay, whether it's a member of your family, each person's walk with the Lord is different. Each person's gifts or purpose for what the Lord has for you to be on earth is different. So as much as we are equal, at the very same time, we are just as much as not equal, okay? In terms of each person's, like I mentioned, walk is different, and whatever calling for the Lord has for each person is different. That's basically what he was answering. He was just giving it plain and simple, but if you just listen to what I said, you would kind of understand. But that's why them as a couple, they are equal. But as believers in the Lord, they are completely different.
Yourself as the head of the household, as the man.
He is the head of our household. Yes, and I do submit to him.
So like moving here
I was just going to say that.
ultimately your decision.
Yes.
That's a great
example.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastor.
Now this is the point where I see things changing. This is actually the point where I see now that the interviewer and the network that put out the story is going to use the woman's perspective and the woman's rights against the national Christian church, okay? Because of what they believe in. Because as you just heard the pastor say that women are not supposed to have the right to vote. Okay, I do have my own points about that, but let's just go further in. There's a point where Asmongold is just, I don't know, he's just figuring out what he's going to say. He's like, yeah, I told you, I told you this is going to happen. And he's probably going to agree with this network.
Retweeted by the Secretary of Defense. That's right.
This is the reason why a lot of young people aren't supporting Trump. It's because he's not conservative enough. Yeah. Biggest L ever, religion should not substitute secular law. I'm not a big fan of being ruled by religion either. I think that most people, I am a Reddit atheist. Okay? So I agree with you in a lot of these viewpoints. But I'm telling you where things are going.
Because he's clairvoyant. He's seen this. He's seen history, and he knows exactly where history will take it. And what he said about he's a Reddit atheist, I actually had to look it up, and I didn't know it was real. I literally didn't know it was real. Where is this section? Yeah. Reddit atheist, Reddit atheism. Okay, this is just straight from Google. Okay, so it's kind of like plain and simple. Reddit atheism is not about philosophy or adult conversation. It's about getting riled up into a frothing at the mouth ideological stupor. Now, that doesn't really explain. That's just kind of like a slam in the face. That's kind of like a diss in a sense. But I actually had to look it up, and it's right over here. Take a brief dip into Reddit atheism, okay? It's a place entirely defined by bitter, forks-enlightened young people sharing thought-provoking images about horrific evils of religion, in practice pretty much just Christianity, okay? And congratulating each other for being enlightened. But yeah, that's basically it. Like, hey, We shared a couple of things about evil Christianity and how evil Christianity can be. And yeah, no, thank you. You did it all. We fully understand, and now they're enlightened. Sorry about that. Got a little distracted. Okay, so let's just continue. Okay, not that. Yeah.
Pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same?
Right.
I mean, it's everybody's got their own opinion, so yeah, you might, even if you discuss it with your family and the household, people have their own viewpoints on things.
Why would you even ask this? You know what the answer is. You know what just say it.
Person as you.
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say.
You see, they're still trying to play by the old rules. That's it. These words.
Asmongold is referring to the gentlemen, the national Christians, the Christian nationals. They're trying to play by the old rules, which is the Old Testament in the Bible, which actually does state, that not that women shouldn't be allowed to vote, but women shouldn't be leaders in the church. Women, there's a few others I can't get to it, but basically it says that the woman should be in a leadership position, so the woman shouldn't be allowed to give in a sense, their own opinion in terms of the direction that the family, not the family, or the church, mostly the church in the Old Testament, the women do not have the right to give their own opinion or lead the church in a certain direction. Okay, that is up to the men. That is in the Old Testament. And if you do understand the Old Testament, since Jesus, the Old Testament is filled with prophecies, and it has the tablets, it has the laws and commandments. But if you're Christian, you understand that in the Old Testament, when you're living in the Old Testament, those people were living there without grace, in a sense. Everything was by the law, And if you wanted to be forgiven by God, it's not about now you can pray to God. No, you had to have an altar, burn a sacrifice, which was a young lamb, and then pray, and thus God would forgive you for your sins. Now, because since Jesus was born, and since he passed away, that is the New Testament, okay? And we now are living under God's grace. That is why we do not need to burn a young lamb, okay? That is why we do not need to give a burnt offering or a burnt sacrifice, because Jesus died on the cross. Thus, now we can pray to Jesus, we can pray to God, we can pray to Jesus. We don't have to offer up an offering, because Jesus laid himself down on the cross, the ultimate sacrifice, okay? So we can come to God whenever we want and ask for forgiveness. But it doesn't mean, now because we live under grace, we can do. You still have to abide by the law. But now you can come to God and you can pray and you can ask for forgiveness. Okay, that was just a short one. Let's just continue back into the video.
Worthless men are the reason why sexist women exist. I think that you are in for a very, very bad next 10 years. Probably.
Which is, he's talking about himself as well.
Probably next 20 years. You're in for a really bad time.
That they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the
Look, I don't know the 19th Amendment, but I can look it up right now. Okay? I'm not American, so don't think of me like, this guy's an idiot. I'm not American. Amendment. Okay. What is the 19th? Provides the right of citizens of the United States to vote. To vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Okay, Just going into a little bit further. So basically, the 19th Amendment was the right to vote. Yeah, this looks like this network is going to take this interview on a point of, so women are not allowed to vote, is what you're saying. Yeah, I pretty much thought that this was where did I stop? Blah 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 blah. Okay, well, there's a lot of things here. Citizens of the United States, base of 6, in effect recognizing the right of women to vote. The amendment was a culmination of decades-long movement for women's suffrage in the United States at both the state and national levels, and was part of the worldwide movements towards the women's suffrage and part of the wider women's rights movement. Okay, I'm just gonna go there. Okay, so they taking the point of the fact of women. Cool. Let's just go.
Atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
And Wilson, a veteran himself, is unapologetic about his view that women shouldn't be in certain leadership or combat roles.
They going all the way. Oh shit.
Looking at the leadership page for Christ Church,
Right.
it's all
guys.
men.
Yeah. Congratulations, Karen. You just figured that out.
Do you accept women in leadership roles in the church and government?
In the church, no.
Why?
Because the Bible says not to.
12 disciples and
Well, that's not what happens in the Bible. Women do lead all the time.
Progressive faith leader
I would like her to back that up with some scripture, please, because we do know that there was the 12 apostles, okay? But there was also a woman that was with Jesus, okay? I'm not saying Jesus was a pimp now, I'm saying that there were women who followed Jesus, and there were those who were quite important as well, okay? Not just his mother, but a few others, like if you look at the story of the Samaritan woman, okay? There were a lot of them that were actually quite important as well. They believed in Jesus just as much as the apostles, and they were learning from Jesus just as much as the apostles. So, but we're not saying that, oh, okay, so they were women and they were in leadership. I'm saying they were women, they were still also important, but Jesus wanted the fact on the 12 apostles. Carry on.
Reverend Jennifer Butler is concerned about Wilson's growing influence.
Of course they're concerned. I bet they are. Yep.
He is rapidly gaining in power. He has hundreds of churches established around the country.
Yep. These people have no idea where things are going.
They actually literally wanted to...
Why, they have no idea what's going on here. This is a consensual situation. The end result of this is that it will not be.
I actually think it can be a consensual situation. Asmongold doesn't know the Bible. Asmongold said he's an atheist. He's a Reddit atheist, so he doesn't know about the scriptures. And if he does read the scriptures, he won't really understand it. Fact, straight on. Okay. Now you can take a look, and you can see, and you're going to see further on that this news segment is going to take the point of view is this church shouldn't exist because they don't allow women to be have also equal authority within the church. And it's not a biggie. You just need to understand, oh, okay, because they're going by the Old Testament. Now, that is actually something that I think if there is in South Africa a board of the church or of the specific religion in the United States, that they should actually come to the pastor and the leaders of the church and actually discuss this, okay, and try and deal with things. Because in the Bible it actually states, when you have an issue with a brother in the church, do not publicize it like it's being publicized right now. Do not make a big quarrel about it. Instead, go to the leaders of the church, and I would say go to the board members or the committee members of the specific religion okay, of the specific church. I understand maybe of the church is that one dude, he has all the churches, but there should be board members across the board for that specific religion, okay? And go to them and speak about this, and then thus deal with the situation, but not publicize it like as it is. Because like I mentioned now, the whole thing I was saying in the Bible, when you have an issue with a brother, go to the leaders of the church and deal with it. Go to the leaders, talk it out, let it be a peaceful matter, dealt peacefully, and basically coming to a a mutual conclusion to everything. Now, I want to move on to the fact of where this church saying that women are not allowed to be in leadership, and where the men agree with that the women shouldn't vote. Okay, and it's just something that I had to think about, and I actually had to do some research myself about it. Okay, so I'm going to come to you with a chapter from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. It is the New International Version, UK. It says, verse 22, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. Okay, his body, of which he is the Savior, which is the church, the wife. Now, as the church submits to Christ, the wives submit to husbands. So also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. Okay. Husbands, love your wives. God loves the church, just as Christ loves the church. It's literally it's what I'm saying. Oh, sorry, I'm saying exactly what is in the Bible. Okay, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for the church, where God laid his life on the cross, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word. Okay, the word of God will cleanse, and to present her to himself as the radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Now, I'm actually just going to end there. The rest of the verses just continue. The rest of the verses just continue by stating the wife or the church should be blameless. If you love yourself, then you should love your wife. If husbands, you love yourselves and you love your own body, then since the wife is like your body, you should respect your wife, okay? And basically, you should love your wife. Now, if you love your wife and you respect your wife, would you not allow to listen to your wife's opinion, okay? And wives, if you submit yourselves to your husband, you would understand your husband's point of view and you would respect his point of view, okay? And you would submit, I understand, yes, and all that. And the same, like I just mentioned now, husbands, if you love your wives like you love yourself, you would listen to her opinion, okay? You would take her own opinion and judgment into consideration with yours. Am I doing the right thing? What does my wife have to say? Basically, it's a teamwork effort. Even though the husband is the head, okay, this is how I understand. This is my interpretation of the verses. This is how I understand. The husband is the head. Yes, cool. But a king has advisors. A king has advisors, and if the husband loves his wife, he would listen and he would take the word of his wife. What do you think? Am I doing the right thing? It's a teamwork effort. The husband and wife is the same body in Christ. Would you not listen to yourself? The husband and the wife, when you are married, you are the same body in Christ. Would you not listen to yourself? It's just I'm just trying to make you think, okay? So that's my interpretation. Whew. Let's carry on.
Clip it. And let's wait. For now.
Take over towns and cities, and they have access to this administration.
Yes.
Wilson is part of a broader Christian nationalist movement making inroads with the Trump administration, with a newly created faith office led by evangelical pastor Paula White Cain, and people seen right outside the White House entrance praying and speaking in tongues.
We are standing on the soil of the White House, and we are declaring your word.
How precious.
And now there's a monthly prayer service at the Pentagon, initiated by Hegseth.
This is exactly what I expected.
Yep. Yeah, if you had told me that Again, the guy with a bunch of tattoos from the Crusades, I would immediately believe it.
What's up with the tattoos, dude? Come on. No, it's just tattoos. It's just Crusader tattoos. Like I said, maybe he likes it. I mean, when he was a kid, what do you think he was playing? What kind of toys do you think he was playing with? Little action figures and little wrestlers, maybe little army men like from Toy Story. You can't blame the guys for having tattoos. What if I had like I spoke now earlier about the Yakuza, and I spoke about the Samoan. What if I had like anime tattoos, tattoos of anime? What do you think I'm gonna allow? What do you think my belief is? I mean, come on. What if I had like Russian tattoos? You know, well, what would you think? I'm sure Asmongold would think I'm actually a Russian spy for Putin. He would probably think that.
Yep.
No, he just agreed. He just agreed to it.
And before people start calling him the Antichrist, you oppress enough people, don't expect a counterswing. I think that a lot of people view, and this is the reason why I think that it's happening. I think that it's happening primarily because they see encroaching religions, primarily Islam, taking hold in European countries, and I think that Americans are looking to inoculate themselves from that happening in America. And the way that they see that working is by taking on Christian nationalism as an oppositional perspective to Muslim nationalism or Islamic nationalism. And I think that's definitely what's happening here. And so these are people primarily who, I don't know if all of them necessarily believe everything in the Bible, but what I think that they do believe is that they want to be told what to do based off of the Bible and not the Quran. And I think that whenever you look at the way that the demographics have changed and the laws have changed in Europe, I think that many Americans see that and they don't want to see that happen here. That's the main reason why it's happening. It's self-preservation. Yes, it is. No one's telling them to do that, though. Well, I think that that's the perspective, right? The perspective is that a lot of these people, this is the outlook that a lot of them have, is that they're worried that if another religion comes into America and it creates enough of a power structure that it will effectively exercise its will over the people and it will supersede the existing laws. And they look at things like existing blasphemy laws and things like this that are being added in the UK or in Europe, and they see that and they say, oh, well, if these people can live on their own, why are they trying to change the laws and make people tell what to do? Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? So why do we have to swap pussy Karens from Christ Karens? Because, again, and I think that it's a lesser of two evils. That's the way that they see it. And that's the way a lot of people see it. Islam places more limitations on women than Christianity ever did. I don't care about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way that people think and how they're evaluating this and where this impulse is coming from. And
okay, I can understand by say the way everybody's evaluating this, but it's also the way he's evaluating it. You know, he has the same point where he's saying that he actually does have the same point where he was saying that, you know, the Christian nationalism. Okay, I'm just going to reverse that. I'm not going to say that he has the same point about what he's actually talking about. He was basically just informing us about Christian nationalism and where he thinks it's going to go and what he thinks is going to happen. And, you know, we'd say that it's not going to be peaceful. Yes, they're going to amend the 13th Amendment, blah, 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 and all of that stuff. When it comes to the Muslim and all of that, what he was saying earlier, it's the same thing as the Christian nationalism, okay? As soon as Christian nationalism take over, they're going to put their own laws, which is already mentioned by the 19th Amendment. And I don't think people should really be afraid that much of a religion taking over. I do understand change is very scary. I do understand that, you know, even if it was a Muslim religion that took over, or if it was a different religion than Christianity that took over, it would be kind of scary because you don't know the religion, so you don't know what they do, you don't know what they practice, and you don't really know what kind of laws they're going to bring into it. Because if you look at the Muslim religion and the other religions in the eastern sectors of the world, they do have quite strict rules against women, but they also have strict rules against men as well, okay? And I don't think that is something to be afraid of, because if this is going to happen, you need to understand the majority of people that is in your country, and at the same time, you don't have to deal with this with violence. Politically, it's going to be political, okay, and it's going to be a lot of feud. But this, you don't have to be afraid that much, because it's not really going to be a massive, massive thing. Okay, I don't think Christianity is going to be taken over. Okay, I do believe Christianity might be definitely be outlawed. Okay, as it is written in the Bible, there will come a time where it's going to be outlawed. Then what religion really takes over? Well, a religion that everybody's going to be happy to be joining. That's actually a fact. Okay, so there are much worse things out there than what is actually happening right now.
If you can't see this happening, I think that you're very delusional. I think that you're not paying attention, and I think that you're intentionally blind. This is where things are going, and I think it's going to become more and more extreme. And as religion, and also here's another reason too, is that the lack of a global culture, right? Or sorry, a national culture. Like America had a much more homogenous natural culture, even whenever I was a kid versus now. I think that there's a lot of people that want to go back to that, and they see that one of the vehicles of going back to that is religion, and that's primarily Christianity here in America. And so that's the reason why it's happening. That's where it's going. Keep religion out of politics. Here's the problem. And you can debate whether this is true or not, but I'm telling you this is what people believe. People don't want to keep religion out of politics out of a very, very simple thing, that other people won't keep their religion out of politics. So they view this as you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. You see what I'm saying? Religion is politics. Yes, exactly, right? And so anyway, USA doesn't have kings, exactly. And so that's really what it is, and vice versa, exactly. And so, yeah, it's reactionary. It is in a lot of cases. Denmark banned the burqa. Have you seen that? Yeah, I did see a little bit of that. It's not impossible to keep religion out of politics. People just don't want to. Well, do you think 9/11 may have had an impact on this? Oh, of course it did. It absolutely did. Of course.
Here come the conspiracies again.
Wilson's highest level connection to the administration.
It's not organizationally tied to us, but it's the kind of thing we love to see.
For his part, Hegseth has publicly praised Wilson.
He has.
Now we're standing on the shoulders of a generation later, the Doug Wilson.
I mean, this guy seems like a full American. He's got the American flag behind him. He's got all those ornaments, which I'm pretty sure are the military badges and all the stuff like that. This guy's a full American, loves America. I don't see why is it bad? Like, the flag hasn't changed to a different flag behind him. You know? He seems like he seems like a full-on American patriot, and so what if he's got Crusader tattoos? Maybe like he's here right now, proclaiming he wants America to be a Christian nation, but do you really think these type of guys who say they praise Jesus, who say they follow Christianity, do you really think they would turn it violent? They would turn out violent to praise Jesus. What are you gonna get killed? Do you really think it's gonna be like that? That's horrible. That's actually a horrible thought to have. And I think men who actually are in the religion of Christianity, even if it would come to a point where the leaders of the church say this is what we have to do, there will be backlash from the members of the church, because they would not agree to something like that. It is not in the religion to be violent. No.
And the others.
Wilson's influence spans the globe with more than 150 churches. Lennox Kalafangwa moved to Moscow from Africa.
It's really because I wanted to be a part of a community that was doing something, and especially in building Christian institutions.
Are there other black families in this community?
Oh, absolutely.
What a weird, stupid question to ask, especially from that name. Like, that's an African name. Christianity is massive in Africa. Now,
here's the point: Christianity is massive in Africa, but so is tribal traditions. And here in South Africa, take it from a dude that lives in South Africa, here on the continent of Africa. Man, Christianity has done wonders. Jesus has done wonders in this country. He saved people. He has banished what was evil in this land. But it doesn't mean that evil is gone. Okay, we still do experience. I don't want to hurt those of you that are African, but there are tribal traditions and tribal rituals out there which is not of God. And the things that go out there in Upper Africa, we're talking about like Congo, further up Congo, and I don't know what other countries go up further Congo. Like I know what's happening in Mozambique. I know what's happening. Okay, Namibia doesn't seem like anything really that bad is happening in Namibia, but you know, go to Congo, where it's constant war. Go to maybe Burkina Faso, Angola, and all that stuff. Man, you're gonna come across things that you wish you never seen, because the type of the stuff that the type of things that people do out there. And I'm not saying you mean people's crazy. No, I'm talking about like the type of rituals that's there, and the tribal and traditional rituals from witch doctors and what they call healers. Healers, like we're talking about tribal healers and all of that stuff. Man, stuff out there is like weird, and I've heard stories. There's even been horror movies made about it, or a horror movie made about it recently, in the last let's say 10 years. I'm gonna say, okay, about the certain laws and cryptids in the African nation, or in the African lands. Man, it's pretty freaking scary, to be honest. Pretty freaking scary. Chupacabra, Chupacabra got nothing against what we've been hearing about and what we've heard what people can do. Okay, hectic. But nonetheless, Christianity has taken a big stronghold here. It's a big faith. It's a great movement, and you know what? When God does His work here in South Africa or in Africa, it's all for the glory of the kingdom of God, and at the same time, people are saved. People live. People progress. People become prosperous. Not easy. It's not an easy walk, but God always provides. Okay, let's go back into the video.
The type of Christianity that's in Africa isn't the same as like Orthodox Christianity or like, you know, Catholicism. It's not directly the same, but it's similar. Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it's huge.
There's a few black families.
Wilson maintains all are welcome to his church, but he's also not shying away from his past controversial statements on race.
Do you still...
I would have never guessed. Wow.
believe what you said back in the 90s, that there's a mutual affection between master and slave?
Yes, it depends on which master and which slave you're talking about. Slavery was overseen and conducted by fallen human beings, and there were horrendous abuses, and there were also people who owned slaves who were decent human beings and didn't mistreat them. I think that system of chattel slavery was an unbiblical system, and I'm grateful it's gone.
What he also wants gone?
He does sound a little bit like, do I have to answer this question? And I'm glad that it's gone. Like, why are you asking me this question, bro? I'm not here to be racist. It sounds like the way he said it, and I'm glad that it's gone. He's like, I'm glad it's gone. Like, why are you asking me this question? Why? This is not an important question. I'm actually busy.
I told you guys. I told you.
Same-sex marriage, because he thinks...
Man. Remember what I said before about how people are going to become slaves again? There's no such thing as ethical slavery.
He never... I don't understand. Why you think that because of national Christian... because of national Christian... Sorry, I'm getting it wrong. Christian nationalism, that you think slavery is going to come back. You know, I actually had to look it up. I didn't want to go into it so soon, but I'm just going to go into it. I actually had to look it up, Christian nationalism. Okay, and boom, I got South Africa, which is my country. And it states, don't want to read the entire thing, but I'm going to read some points, okay? the future leader of the National Party, which is the NP Party, they were the ones who brought in apartheid here in South Africa. The Prime Minister of South Africa, B.J. Vorster, in 1942, declared, "We stand for Christian nationalism, which is an ally of National Socialism," okay? Which you might say, Nazi. Okay, you can call this anti-democratic principle dictatorship if you wish. In Italy, it's called fascism. In Germany, National Socialism, Nazi. And in South Africa, Christian nationalism. Okay, while the National Party was primarily concerned about the nationalist interests of Afrikaners, which was mostly the white farmers and Afrikaners, okay, there was a strong adherence to Calvinist interpretations of Christianity as the bedrock of the state. Moreover, by advancing ideas of Christian nationalism, the National Party could incorporate other nations in their program. Okay, so they could take ideologies and every other practices from other states which was using Christian nationalism. Okay, if I'm correct with that one. Okay. By advancing ideas of Christian nationalism, the National Party could incorporate other nations in their program of racial hierarchies and segregation. This is where apartheid came in. The Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa provided much of the theological and moral justification for apartheid and the basis of racial hierarchy. Now, I know that sounds bad. Basically, the National Party used that ideology and thus used the racial hierarchies and the segregation, which was bad. When you start to when you tell a, how can I say, I don't want to make this sound very bad, like I'm supporting this, but when you try and put boundaries on people, what happens? The people seem to retaliate again, like, why are you doing this? Why is there a gate on my land? Okay, that's my land. Why is there a gate here? Okay, it's kind of like that. But what the NP did, when they had apartheid, it was segregation, and you can still kind of see here in Cape Town alone, where most of the certain denominations are, like you see where the colors are, you see where the whites are. Cool. That's kind of like changing now, because it's not like that anymore. There is no apartheid, and people are able to buy wherever they want to buy. Okay, so even if you had the money back then, because of apartheid, you couldn't buy a house in Camps Bay. Okay, you couldn't buy a house here in Camps Bay, but because there is no apartheid, that's why I live in Camps Bay right now. Why? Because there's no race. There's no apartheid. You can buy a house wherever you want if you have the money now. Okay. The only thing that made apartheid really more horrible was the fact that not only were you allowed to only live in certain areas, you could only go to certain areas, or you could only be here at a certain time. Which I would say was, okay, I would understand. Leaving all the nice places for the nice people, great. You can only be at a certain amount of time. You can only get certain amounts of jobs. And then on top of that, those people were also racist. Yeah, it was horrible. But it has been over 30 years. That does not exist anymore. But we still have people that are worried that it would come back. And I think there's no need to worry. Why? We have progressed past that. Now, when it comes to here, what Asmongold is saying, okay, and what he's basically trying to grandize and have you think, oh, it might be like that. No, I doubt that is going to happen. You would be stupid to even suggest something like that. I'm not saying Asmongold would be. I'm saying these Christian nationalists would be stupid to even suggest something like that, or even to want to bring that into law, which would be racial hierarchies or slavery. I mean, come on now. They're not going to be violent to that. You're making a big thing out of something that is very, very small. And you have to be careful with YouTubers like Asmongold, like all the other YouTubers out there. They like to take something that is small, that can be dealt with pretty easily and very peacefully, and just grandize it to like, this is a massive thing. And you have, why? Because it's probably because of views and to how can I say, because he's doing this for views, and at the same time, I'm gonna say trying to prove that, not trying to prove, but trying to bring over that, like, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about, I'm right. That's basically what I think it is. Where was I? I was on Christian nationalism, and boom, 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 atheists, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I think this is actually I actually do think this is what Asmongold expects us to believe, that this is what Christian nationalism is going to be. Where is it? Here we go. Sorry. I think this is what... you guys actually can't see it. Let me change. Change. Where am I? Display? Yeah. This is probably what... Come on, man. This is what Asmongold wants us to believe is going to happen. Yeah, that's actually what I think Asmongold believes, that what he actually wants us to think that's going to happen. And to be honest, there's no way something like that is going to happen, bro. Like, just stop with that point of thinking. It's the wrong way to think of things at the moment.
Okay.
Homosexuality is a crime.
In the late 70s and early 80s, sodomy was a felony in all 50 states. That America of that day was not a totalitarian hellhole.
So you would like America to go back to that?
Yep.
Yes.
Wilson maintains his ultimate goal is to bring about
Yep, that's it. That's the goal.
the second coming of Christ through his work, and rejects critics' claims he's trying to make the dystopian world of The Handmaid's Tale a reality.
I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a misogynist.
How far off do you see a Christian nation, like a full-on Christian theocracy?
Oh,
15 years away.
250 years?
250 years.
Yeah, honestly, that's yes.
What you see. But you do think it will happen?
Yes, I do. We're not going to usher in anything ourselves. We're really genuinely pioneers.
I think it'd be 50. 250 is a long time.
It is.
Not a chance, 0%. Well, anyway, so this is the new guy. This guy pretending people aren't doing sodomy just because it was illegal. Yeah, but it's like they weren't able to do it publicly, and it was controlled, and people weren't able to express themselves in the same way. So I do think that's a pretty big difference. Let me see if I can pull up a few more of these here. And here's another one. Pete Hegseth gives a... Well, let's just see what he does.
Mr. Hegseth, do you think the Muslim Brotherhood should be designated as a terrorist organization?
Why did your chief of...
That is a stupid question. Who is the Muslim Brotherhood? That's another thing I have to just look up, you guys. Just give me one moment. Muslim Brotherhood. In Senegal? In the UK? In Canada? The Muslim Brotherhood, the site of Muslim Brothers, Arabic, better known as the Muslim Brotherhood, is a transnational Sunni Islamist organization founded in Egypt by Islamic scholar, imam, school teacher. Maybe I should say in the United States. In the United States, or do they mean somewhere else? Briefly, about the history of Muslim Brotherhood, America-based large literature, and includes academic writings, publications of Muslim Brotherhood, linked organizations and individuals. Okay, well, coming back to basically, would we consider them to be a terrorist group? Why? Because these people are following a certain religion, even though that they were terrorists in the Eastern nations, who were basically more labeled as terrorists because of their activities. Does that mean now that everybody that actually follows that specific religion, or even looks that ethnicity, should we really mark them as terrorists? Because it's a stupid question to just come out of nowhere. You're like trying to lead somebody to the slaughter by saying, should we label the Islamic Brotherhood as terrorists? That is a stupid question to ask. You're like asking a question and you're not saying why. Why should we? Oh, if I was that dude, I would have turned and said, why should we? If the reporter wants to answer, right? You should basically ask the reporter, why should we? And then I'll give you an answer. You should have, but nonetheless, I think what he did was great. Just walk off. Don't answer such a stupid question. It's just a question that's going to lead you into more trouble. But I myself, I would have said, why should we? I would have just left it there and then walked off.
I told you guys that's the reason why it's happening. That's it. Any ships think so? Yep.
Staff try to oust a White House liaison.
Again, it's a shock that the guy with Crusader tattoos, really would think that, isn't it? Who could have ever...
Yeah, you never know. The guy could be a Freemason.
...or believe this.
So you just think they're meant to have babies. That's it. They're just a vessel.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and
well, this is the same one. I was seeing if there was another one here, but let's see if I can find it. Pete Hegseth shares a clip saying women shouldn't have the right to vote. The 19th Amendment should be repealed, and women should have to submit to their husbands. All of Christ for all of life. The United States Secretary of Defense just promoted a clip calling for women to lose their right to vote.
Well, I would understand that, this church, they believe that the woman shouldn't have like a leadership role in the church, okay? If they plan on going to the state and allowing women to not be able to vote, like I said, it should be dealt internally with the heads of the church or the heads of the church board or the board of religions in the state of America. Guys, I don't know about the states, about what America fully has. I mean, there should be a department that deals over religious issues, okay? And I think that is where it should be dealt with, and it shouldn't be publicized like this. But I do have a few, I think two, maybe one verse regarding the fact of women not having a leadership role or not being able to vote, okay? Because this church is basically still, belief system is that on the Old Testament, but there are some verses from the Old Testament that, support women, okay? And why women should also be adhered to, okay? Like I mentioned, husbands submit to your wives, and wives, wives submit to your husbands, and husbands love your wives, okay? And in the marriage and union, you're one body. So why would you not listen to both aspects of the body, in a sense, okay? Which is the husband and the wife. But anyway, going here, for the woman's side of the vote, okay, for Proverbs chapter 31, verse 26, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. That's the verse. So, I would actually say, because of that, why would you not allow women to vote, okay? This is not because they're living in because they are following the Old Testament rules. That's what I totally understand it. Old Testament rules. That's what the Old Testament actually says, okay? But we're living in the New Testament. And if you look at the Old Testament verse, forget about the fact of now being an Old Testament verse. Just the fact of the verse saying, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on the tongue. So in a sense, why not listen to somebody who is also wise in Christ? So women aren't allowed to lead, okay. But in terms of being a faithful advisor, in terms of somebody that has wisdom, which is through Christ, why not listen to the woman as well? That's the other thing. That's how I say that this doesn't have to be dealt with as it is being publicized here. This can be dealt with in the church, and it can be done, in a sense, quietly and also peacefully. It doesn't have to be grandized like it is being right now, okay? This is where you can see that the political... people like Asmongold, okay, and other politicians, okay, maybe you can put Asmongold, he's just a YouTuber, just kick about. Other politicians and news networks are going to use the 19th Amendment, and they're going to use all the Karens out there in America and the rest of the world to basically shun down on this church and their beliefs. And it's kind of like saying the women have more right than the church. You're kind of like going to say women have more right than God's church and God's rules. And I think that's wrong. Because above everybody else is Jesus Christ, is God. Not women and their rights. Not men and their rights. Jesus above all.
Yep. Keep in mind, I just want to remind you guys, it's not even 1 year. It has not even been 1 year. Wow.
Well, that's the video. I tried to give you as much from my point as I could give to you and what I could articulate, to be honest. But, yeah, if you guys do have any opinions and your own comments, your own opinions, your own comments, your own viewpoints, please throw it down in the comments. Do not forget to give likes and subscribes. This is the real KMGH. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. I think I went through everything, you know, Reddit atheism, what is this 35 important Bible verses? I don't think I need to give that one, do I? What is Christian nationalism? I even looked that one up and was surprised myself. Yeah, no, definitely. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And you know what? Thank you so much for the views. And thank you so much for getting me to where I am right now in my subscribers. And I'm looking forward to going up even more. So let's get to 1,000. And so I can bring you more content and just enjoy having a great time with you guys.